Hi, and welcome along to just this little lesson on how to transfer line art across onto your drawing paper. I'm really glad you decided to join me for this free Facebook Live hair eye tutorial that I'm going to do. We'll do the eye and some of this fur around here, so you'll get to see how I create a realistic eye as well as how I do some fur. So you'll see if you've followed the link I've given everyone, you'll have this printout, which is the reference image and the line art. You'll then also have an equipment list. So these are sort of some of the stuff in that list. I've got some stick pastels and some pencils here. Now, I haven't drawn this, of course, so I'm not 100% sure of what colours I'm using, but those are ones I could see in this image that I felt I will use, so I will be sticking to those as close as possible. You don't need exactly the same as me, just go with what you've got. You could do completely different colours if you wanted. I don't want you or expect you to run out and have to buy heaps of brand new pastels. They can be expensive. Okay, but what I would prefer you to spend money on is the paper. So I'm going to be using pastel matte, which this is sand color. I've decided on sand color because there's a lot of that in the hair. But honestly, it doesn't matter what color, but I would definitely recommend trying to get some pastel matte paper. All right, so first thing we're doing, which is what I need you to get ready before the free lesson, is get this line art transferred onto your paper. So you'll need to get some tracing paper, and I've just traced this on here. Okay, so once you've traced it, make sure first of all that you've got it the right way. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over and work on the back. Okay, I'll just flip that over so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm now on the back of my tracing. All right, so I'm going to just run around with, this is just a brown pastel pencil. I'm using brown because that's sort of a color that's in the picture. This is 635. These lines here, they're just sort of to show direction of fur, so they're not that important. It's mainly those lines around the actual eye itself that are the most sort of important. If you have white transfer paper, you could probably use that, but I just don't know how well the white stands out on the sand paper. This is just how I always transfer. I just find it's quite easy for me. And then I can pick the colours I want to transfer it across in. So I did one the other day that it was a little fairy wren bird sitting on some branches or some green sort of stems of a plant. So I did the stems in green and the wren I did in white because I didn't want any sort of green coming through. So that's the beauty of doing your own transfer like this. You don't have to do it all in one color. You can pick areas and do a different color if needed. Okay, but just sort of take your time, enjoy the process, you know, it's all part of it. All right, so now once I've got some pastel down, another way of doing this too, if you have any pan pastels, you could run some pan pastel over the whole thing and that works as well. All right, so now we've got that pastel down on the back, excuse me, on the back of the tracing. So now I'm going to flip it over and I've got my pastel paper, my pastel mat. I just like to tape it to a board just for ease of movement around and that. So, all right, so now I'm going to place this on top of there. I just need some sticky tape just to hold it down so it doesn't move on me. So I'll just tape it up the top here. And then I use I usually use just a retractable pencil, like a lead pencil, but any lead pencil is fine. This one's just a, you know, it's just a lead pencil. It's a whole lead. It doesn't have any actual wood casing, but anything. I like to use a lead pencil to do this side rather than the pastel pencil, just because I find it's a finer, you can get a sharper point on a lead pencil, so you get, it's not quite as fat, it's a nice fine line that transfers across. So this is all I'm doing now. I'm going back over it. And you'll see when I lift this is why I've got it taped, so I can lift it, so I can see, oops, sorry, my light's in the way, so I can see sort of where I've been. And again, just take your time. We want to sort of make sure our transfers across properly and not, you know, if you rush things, you don't get your lines in the right spot. So we don't want that. And we also don't want to put too much pressure at this point. I'm not pushing down hard at all. Okay, because if you push too hard, you'll indent your paper, and then it can be a bit hard to cover those areas later. So just be gentle with it. If you've got enough pastel on the back, you shouldn't need to press hard at all. So if you find when you're doing this and you've lifted up and you can't see it very well, then it means you've haven't got enough pastel on the back of it, or maybe the color you've chosen, the color of the pastel you've chosen isn't very good against the color of your pastel paper. Okay, so you need something that's going to contrast, but it also needs to be something that is in the image. So I wouldn't go using, so say this hair here, I wouldn't transfer this across in a, you know, bright green or bright blue or something, because those colors aren't in that image. Okay, because you want these lines to be able to blend in to your drawing. All right, I think I've got it all. So I usually just flick back and forth. I might use my other hand so I'm not throwing shadow everywhere. These lines here, they're just, like I said, they're not really important. They're just sort of to show where that, you see where this dark is down here. So that's why they're there. All right, I think that is it. Hold on, I don't know that I can see. Don't stress too much if you've missed one or two little spots anyway. And if you don't like this, that if it's left lines around, you can just get, I'm not sure where mine is. Normally I just use a kneadable eraser to get rid of those. But if you want, you could just go back over it with a rubber like that and pull them out a bit. But that is fine. I'm more than happy with that. I know exactly where my pupil is, which is the most important, where that shadow line, the horizon sort of line of where that reflection is, that's what that line is. And then up here I've got shadow areas up there. Yep, so pretty happy with that. And then yeah, you'll see on the 22nd when I draw this live for you guys, you'll see what all these lines mean and where it comes together. But this is how I need, if you're gonna follow along with me on the night, you need to have your paper ready at this point, okay? So you need your line art on your pastel paper ready to go. All right, thanks guys.